Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I have a couple general announcements to make. First, although I am not a weather forecaster, the latest information that we have from State College says that we should be expected to get between 12 and 18 inches. We're looking at winds from the north-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 35 miles per hour. The strongest winds coming on Saturday morning. This is a real storm, and we're encouraging all residents and everyone listening to take it seriously. We are pleased to announce, in cooperation with SB Plus, that we are making the Locust Street parking garage available for free for residents to park in. They can start parking there at 7 o'clock this evening. They can stay there all weekend as long as they are out by 6 a.m. on Monday morning. There are hundreds and hundreds of spaces there. It's a great opportunity to move your car. We are starting our snow emergency tonight also at 7 o'clock, which means that all of the snow emergency routes within the city of Harrisburg have to be cleared of vehicles. The police department will give everyone about an hour to move their cars, hopefully into places like the Locust Street garage, but starting about 8 o'clock, they're going to be out there ticketing and towing. They will make every effort to knock on doors and to see what they can do to get people off the snow emergency routes. In Harrisburg, if you're not familiar with the snow emergency routes, they're all very clearly labeled, but we're looking at Division Street from Front to 7th, 2nd Street all the way from Paxton to Division, Maclay Street from Front to 7th, portions of 7th Street, Walnut Street, and Paxton Street. Those are our snow emergency routes, and they must be cleared of cars. We are also doing something a little bit different this time. We have our Public Works Department manning the phones throughout the snow emergency, and we're going to give a special number that people can call tonight, anytime from 6 p.m. till midnight, all day tomorrow, again until midnight on Saturday, and all day on Sunday until midnight. They can call Public Works directly. That number is 717-412-4320 if they want to report something or talk about how maybe something, a street has been missed, you name it. This would be a non-emergency snow reporting. Obviously, people should call 911 if people are threatened or their lives are in jeopardy. But in an effort to reach out, Public Works is also going to be staffing the phones, and that will go directly to the Public Works Center, and they will be able to communicate with their plow drivers via cell phone. If you're interested, we have 16 different plows that will be out on the street all weekend. We have 8 1-ton plow vehicles and 8 5-ton vehicles. We have 2 separate 12-hour shifts already booked starting tonight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and then a second shift coming in 6 a.m. until the following 6 p.m. on Saturday. We haven't had a lot of overtime yet this year, so everyone is ready and raring to go. We also have plenty of salt on hand, so the plowing is not going to be a problem. I was asked by Public Works to remind residents just of a few things that would be useful. Please shovel your sidewalks in front of your homes and in front of your businesses. If you know you have an elderly neighbor, consider shoveling and being a good neighbor and helping them as well. Try not to blow the snow back in the street after the plows go through. It's just a common courtesy. It'll make keeping the streets plowed a lot easier. And don't put chairs in the middle of the street. It makes it a lot harder for the plows to go through and plow curb to curb. We talked about the snow emergency routes. Well, also we want to make it clear that in the aftermath of this storm, we're going to be continually plowing, and we're going to be following our street cleaning routes to make sure that we can go curb to curb. So I don't want there to be any confusion. If it says no parking due to street cleaning on such and such day next week, you should not be parking there. You will get a ticket because we're going to use that to go back and further plow curb to curb. I think that is about it. I did want Chief Enterline, who is our sort of chief emergency officer here at the city, to have an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about communication and maybe give some general advice. Chief.
You want to talk about the 4th Street parking too?
Oh yes, and I should also mention, we have, thanks to the fire department, we are going to be plowing and keeping the lot open at the Fire Museum, which is at 1820 4th Street, and that is an area where people who live in Midtown and Uptown can easily move their cars for free for the duration of the storm. There's at least 100 spaces up there. The fire department will be keeping that lot clear, and that's a great cooperation with them and the Fire Museum. So Uptown, you can use that lot. Downtown, use the Locust Street Garage. And with that, Chief.
Thanks, Mayor. The Fire Bureau, through emergency management, myself, Deputy Chief Souter, have been keeping a close eye on the storm over the last couple of days. We started a lot of preparations yesterday. This morning, we're full force with some incident action plans that we're developing, communications plans, so that we have communications with all of our partners, whether it's Verizon, PP&L, things like that. If we get power outage, we're able to call them directly with any issues that we have within the city of Harrisburg. We set up a 3-tier system for this storm so that as the storm progresses, if we start to hit certain snowfall amounts, we're going to bring some extra personnel back so that our apparatus is fully staffed, so that we have enough personnel, just because of the decreased travel time that we can potentially see with that downfall. We'll also be assisting Life Team EMS. We'll be putting a plow truck on duty of our own, probably around 10 o'clock tonight, that will continue to plow around the clock the fire stations, and then specifically that lot at 1820 North 4th Street where residents can park. They will also assist EMS. We'll have 2 EMTs in that truck at all times, and they'll be able to assist EMS for any medical calls where they may be stuck or not able to get into. In the event of a major snow that this thing goes catastrophic on us, we do have 2 snowmobiles that the Bureau owns, and we will implement them, and we have some parameters on how we'll do that. We've activated, we're going to be activating here shortly 2 shifts of our firefighters and putting them on alert status, which means that when we do that, we call them and then they have to come back in. That way they're under that. We're not trying to get a hold of people throughout the storm if we need to bring them back at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning or 7 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll be watching again the storm very closely and determining whether we're going to open our emergency operations center. At this point, we're going to myself, Chief Souter, will watch the city. Once we get it to one of our tiers, then we'll decide if we're going to open that with limited staffing. And if that does happen, we'll communicate with the public. If you have any issues, here's a number you can call to directly talk to the Emergency Operations Center in the city of Harrisburg, so we kind of take some of the burden off of Dauphin County. Just a couple of tips that we'd like to put out. While you're out shoveling sidewalks, hopefully you're helping your neighbors shovel, elderly neighbors. Go out and give them a hand. Elderly folks that are shoveling tend to suffer from cardiac emergencies. When they have a cardiac emergency, now we got to bring ambulances, now we got to bring fire trucks, and we got to bring those types of things. Go out and help those elderly folks out and help them shovel their sidewalks. The emphasis on shoveling sidewalks is big for us as well from an emergency response standpoint. When we have an emergency, whether it's a medical or a fire emergency, and those sidewalks are packed full of snow and ice, it's very difficult and dangerous for the EMS and fire workers to get into your house, and they have the potential of getting hurt. Last year we had several injuries of our firefighters slipping and falling on ice from sidewalks that hadn't been shoveled. So we encourage you to go out and do that for not only yourself, but for your elderly residents as well. Please use caution with any candles, space heaters you might be using. Keep that 3-foot clear distance around them. We really don't want to be coming out and putting fires out in the middle of a snowstorm. We don't want to do it any day, but we really don't want to have to come out and try and travel through the snow to do that. And also, while you're out traveling or shoveling out your sidewalks, your driveways, please, if you have a fire hydrant in your neighborhood, clear a 3-foot path around that to give us better access. If we don't have access to that when we pull in, our folks have to shovel the hydrant before we can get the water out of the fire hydrant to put on the fire. So that really gives us a big advantage if you can keep a 3-foot clear distance around those fire hydrants. That is about all I have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief. So again, To recap, a snow emergency starting tonight in the city of Harrisburg at 7 o'clock. Must move your cars off the snow emergency routes. A special number set up by the Public Works Department. If you want to get a message to the snow plowers, you can call the 717-412-4320 tonight and all weekend, anytime up till midnight. And that message will go directly there. And very importantly, a continued partnership with our good friends at SB Plus. We thank them very much for opening up the garages. They will be literally lifting the gates and letting residents in tonight, where they can park all weekend for free in the Locust Street garage. And also a thank you to the fire department and the fire museum for making their lot available at 1820 North 4th Street, also for free parking. So with that, we will take some questions. Yes, sir.
How long do residents have to clear their walks before they get fined?
Generally speaking, we are encouraging snow shoveling of walks. We don't do a lot of finding in the city. We will if there are egregious cases. We're going to work with people to do that. That's different than moving your cars. You will get ticketed if you don't move your car. So we're asking people as they are able to not only shovel their sidewalks, but help their neighbors to get them clean. And historically, we haven't done a lot of ticketing.
What about snowmobiles within the city? Are you going to get ticketed or not?
What about snowmobiles within the city? I'm not entirely sure about the regulations regarding snowmobiles in the city. I will get back to you on that. Yes.
Do they have to have an ID to park their car for free? They have to prove that they live in the city or
No.
anything?
They have to say that they're a city resident, and
honor
we're on an honor system, right, Nancy? Yes.
Okay.
You do not need to bring any ID. Yes.
Are there any repercussions for people that do try to save spaces with chairs and other items and things like that?
We're not encouraging that. It makes our job harder, and right now it is a request that people not do that. Just as is a request that you shovel your sidewalk, it is let's call it a demand that you move your cars off the snow emergency routes.
If a plow truck comes and sees someone trying to save a spot, it's not like they're going to stop and then move the chairs politely. They're going to keep going and plow them out of the way, aren't they?
We're going to work with that. It would just be much better if people did not try and mark up the street. Understand that the plows are best and most efficient when they can go curb to curb, but obviously they're always going around obstacles. The fewer obstacles that we can place in their way, the better. Yes?
What do you hope that opening this public works number does during this storm?
It is an effort, this is initiated by the Public Works Department to be in better communication with the public. We can't use our 311 number after hours like this until midnight because we don't have that number staffed here. So they've opened a direct number at the Public Works facility where they're in contact with each of the 16 drivers. So I would say if people notice that a street hasn't been plowed or if there is an area that needs a second pass, they can call Public Works now and feel that they're in good communication and get an update. So I'd say it's good customer service on the part of the Public Works Department. It should lead to better communication.
Are there any structures within the city that you're aware of that may not be able to take the weight of the snow?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there are, and the chief and the fire department are aware, and Codes is aware, and there are a number of condemned buildings in the city that may struggle with the added weight of over a foot of snow. Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of any shelters that are going to be opened up in case people lose heat or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I in terms of additional shelters, yeah, I think that as much as we want to believe, and the city is preparing from a traffic control standpoint that we're going to get a lot of snow, we're going to know a lot more in the next 24 hours. Yeah.
When it comes to the elderly, I know you ask people to kind of check on their neighbors. Is there anything that they can do in advance other than just check on them? I've already had people tweeting at me, what about elderly who can't move their cars or can't do this?
Well, as I say, the police do make an effort, and it will be the police department that will be ticketing along the snow emergency routes. They really do make an effort to try and knock on doors and get, and you're making an effort now to get the word out. So hopefully people can move their cars now in the middle of the day when it's easier. The garage will be opening tonight at 7. So check on your neighbors. Absolutely, be as neighborly as possible, and we'll all get through this together.
How much the fine is for not moving your car?
I am not entirely sure, but I imagine is it a standard ticket or is it a special ticket?
It's a standard ticket.
So it's going to be your standard $30 ticket with a added fee if you don't pay it in a certain short amount of time. Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you all for coming. Stay safe.